After just 10 days and plenty of rain, our mung beans are up and growing, so our cover crop's taken care of for the summer. Now our vine crops here are really starting to ramble. We've had some fruit set on the melons. We have some small ones developing, and pretty soon we'll be putting out our meat trays to keep them up off the surface of the soil. However, we are having a problem with cucumber beetles, and this is something you may want to watch for in your own garden. Down in the center of the blossoms, cucumber beetles can actually feed on the floral parts and completely prevent any fertilization of the blossoms. So watch for that. Cucumber beetles will also cause some damage to the foliage. They chew on the foliage. They also spread viral diseases in cucurbits. So watch out for both the striped and the spotted cucumbers. Well, up ahead of me here in our raised bed garden, we've also been raising cucumbers up on a trellis. They've set some fruit now, and we'll be looking forward to harvest in probably another 2 weeks, and we want to make sure we keep those picked off through the season. Along here a few weeks ago I sowed some lettuce, and we've been picking that. It's giving us a nice harvest through the season. Now you might notice that these two cucumber plants look quite a bit smaller than the first one I looked at. If you remember, that first one up ahead there was covered with remay fabric cover early in the season. It kept the wind off of it and increased the temperature and reduced any early season insect pressure, so they're really doing beautifully. Down on the end here, our yellow squash has a small fruit developing on it. We'll probably be picking that in about 3 days from now. Now remember, on squash plants and cucurbits in general, you have both male and female blossoms on there at the same time. So if a blossom falls off, has no fruit growing just back of it, that's a male flower. In fact, if they've done their pollinating and the flowers are still in good shape, you may want to go ahead and take those into the kitchen, dip them in some batter, and deep fry them. They're very tasty. In fact, some varieties of squash are now grown just for their blossoms for fresh eating. Remember to keep your squash picked and watch out for squash bugs. Well, if you look over here at our sweet corn, you can see what a difference 2 weeks and a lot of rain makes. This has gotten much taller since the last time we saw it. Now this variety on my right with the golden tassels is Merit, which is a standard variety of sweet corn that's grown around Oklahoma, and it's silking very nicely. Once those silks turn brown, we'll know that harvest is upon us. This next variety is candy corn, and candy corn is a very sweet variety of sweet corn, but something different about it is that its silks are red. The tassels are red too, and so it'll be a little harder to tell when that's quite ripe, but they will wither and brown somewhat. We'll take another look back at those in about 10 days and see how the corn's coming along. Right now, our pole bean teepee is really filling in nicely. It's starting to form a few flower buds, and I'll be looking to pick beans probably in about 2 weeks from now. And this will keep bearing for us quite a bit longer than bush beans would, because pole beans bear for a longer period of time. They have a longer length of growth on which to bear the beans. Now, if we're going to replant pole beans, same goes for bush beans. We won't do that until probably early August for a fall crop, because the flowers won't set in summer's heat.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.